The Great Tribulation is a future 7-year period of intense global suffering, divine judgments, and widespread persecution, particularly against followers of Christ, culminating in the second coming of Jesus. It is also known as Jacob's trouble and the day of the Lord, characterized by the rule of the Antichrist and catastrophic events. While some interpretations suggest believers will be exempt, others believe they will endure this period alongside unbelievers. Characteristics of the Great Tribulation. Intense global suffering. The period will be marked by unprecedented worldwide turmoil, war, famine, disease, and pain. Yes, the Bible presents earthquakes as significant events connected to God's divine power, presence, and actions, often symbolizing his judgment, power, and authority, and sometimes indicating the coming of the day of the Lord, or a momentous event like Jesus' crucifixion, rather than a visitation in the typical sense. Key verses include Isaiah 29:6, which speaks of punishment by the Lord with thunder and earthquake. Zechariah 14:5, referencing a great earthquake and the Lord's return. Revelation 6:12 and 16:18, describing earthquakes as part of apocalyptic end-time judgments, and Hebrews 12:26, which states, God shook the earth at that time, and will shake the heavens and earth again. Earthquakes as divine manifestations, power and majesty. Earthquakes are seen as powerful expressions of God's might, reminding people of his immense power and the transient nature of earthly things. Judgment. In several instances, earthquakes are depicted as instruments of God's judgment and wrath, such as the earthquakes accompanying the day of the Lord in the end times. In several instances, earthquakes are depicted as instruments of God's judgment and wrath, such as the earthquakes accompanying the day of the Lord in the end times. Revelation and presence. While God is sometimes not in the earthquake, as in 1 Kings 19:11-13, earthquakes serve as powerful signs of his divine purpose and presence at work in the world. Key verses referring to the Great Tribulation include Matthew 24:21, which describes it as a time of unprecedented trouble, and Revelation 7:14, where it's said that the saints come out of it. Other important passages are Daniel 12:1 and Jeremiah 37, which also speak of a time of intense suffering, and Revelation 15:1, which mentions the 7 last plagues of God's wrath. Matthew 24:21-22. Jesus states, For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. So what are you waiting for? Repent and be saved.